Start now. Hey everybody, it's Lee Out Loud, and I am very excited today to be with Senator Ed Reilly. This is second or third interview that I have done with our state senator for the District 33, and we're coming to you today to talk about kind of coronavirus, how it's affecting him and his family, and how it's affecting the district, and then kind of focus in on higher education, how this whole thing is going to play out, testing, money for college, sports, the FAFSA, the SAT, all of those kinds of things. And then maybe at the end, we'll ask him some hard questions, catch him off guard. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to let our Senator for District 33, Ed Reilly, say hello.
Hi. Well, thank you very much. Lee, this is a great opportunity because most of us have hunkered down and we have a spouse or significant others or a few people in our home. Very rarely do I have a chance to talk to you all the way across the county. I'm here in Crofton, been in Crofton 45 years, been in our little house 34 years, and it's been a great honor to represent District 7 in the County Council for 7 years, and now this is my 11th year as a state senator. And for a guy with no political ambition, I'm pretty impressed. I've hung around for 18 years.
Yeah.
I'm on a committee called the Finance Committee. So 47 senators are divided into 4 committees. There's 11 of us on the Finance Committee, and we do banking, insurance, energy, disability community, a whole row of very interesting things. And what happens is we develop a certain expertise, subject knowledge that we carry from year to year. As a matter of fact, in the General Assembly, we had almost 2,000 bills this year, and probably a good 1/3 were bills from prior years that just didn't quite mature enough, weren't phrased right, wasn't the right time. So we develop ability to kind of carry the theme of the subject matter forward in case it needs tweaking or in case it needs some more work. This year, the General Assembly normally meets 90 days a year, January 8th to April 8th. And this year, for the first time since the Civil War, we only went 71 days.
Wow. Were you alive during the Civil War? I'm just kidding.
I'm old, but not that old. The governor wanted us to stop early, but we had a lot of important work to do, and I'll cover a couple of those items real quickly. The first one was the $47 billion budget. This was the operating and capital budget. That's the only bill we're required to pass each year, and we passed it at 4 o'clock on a Wednesday, and by 5 o'clock we were headed home. Nice. So that really drove how long we had to stay in the building. But we also did an emergency bill giving the governor extreme broad emergency powers to close businesses, what he's doing now and helping to manage our communities. We also gave him $50 million that he can direct to healthcare and clinics to help pay for all the things that they have to do.
Sure.
And then the other huge elephant in the room was a program called the Kirwan Commission. This is supposed to be the new approach to education, where teachers within 5 years are expected to start at a minimum wage of $60,000, on par with other people with bachelor's degrees. Mm-hmm. Traditionally, they've been starting about $34,000 or $36,000. So this is a huge increase in income, trying to attract the best and the brightest. But they're also talking about new buildings, about more help for special ed, a lot of other components of this Kirwan Commission. And in 10 years, it's supposed to cost us $32 billion.
Wow.
So this year, the price tag wasn't too bad. They did pass one tax increase for a little more than $400 million, targeted to internet sales, downloading and streaming type of activities. Mm-hmm. So we're not going to see it at our grocery store or at our normal sales tax. but it's going to be a big bite. I'm not convinced adding more money to the formula is the uh, silver bullet. I'm a big advocate for smaller classes, but the new Kerwin program is designed to give teachers better education and better skills, so they actually are programmed to have larger classroom size,
Okay.
which I have a problem with. Okay. Um, but overall, for Anne Arundel County, we got record funding from the state. We got record funding for school construction. I was able to secure some local, what we call bond bills. Those of you who know Goshen Farms, we've got some money to help repair their aging foundation of the historic farmhouse down there. We got some money for Cape St. Clair to help them with their waterfront restoration. We got money for the Pascal Center that does alcohol and drug rehab. And we also got some money for Langdon Green, which is a residential program for mentally and physically disabled folks. So we had a pretty good year. We really did. And we were under pressure. We were under the scrutiny. But I think we got our priorities in order and we got the job done.
I think that's great news. I think sometimes it's all about how you recover and what you do to wrap it all up. And that's super good news. And also, I think you would agree with me, we all should give a big shout out to our governor, who has really shown himself extremely well in this situation.
And I'll just spend just a couple of seconds on Governor Hogan. If you might not have noticed, as I have, he is the president of the Governors Association for the United States out of the 50 governors. So he's the one doing the direct conversation and negotiations with the federal authorities on behalf of all the states.
Okay.
He's getting a lot of national press because he's been effective. He's pretty nonpartisan. I mean, he's pretty non-political. It's all about how we're taking care of people and businesses. And he's doing a very good job. And he's taken his state experience and brought it up to the national level. So we're very fortunate to have him as our representative in our state. But also the United States is very fortunate to have him as the spokesman for all the governors.
He sure does show himself and our state off very, very, very well.
Yes, that's right. But he is struggling, as we all are, with how do we shut down the businesses and the gatherings to the point of protecting us health-wise, and yet have some type of an infrastructure on finances and unemployment and loans and grants so that people can sustain themselves during this time. Those of us who are, I'm retired now for a few years, and I have a constant retirement income. I'm not at risk. But a lot of my children and grandchildren are hourly employees, and they're suffering a little bit. You know, how are they going to pay the rent or the mortgage? How are they going to pay the car payment? There's been a lot of creative discussion, but at the end of the day, I think most of our institutions, our financial institutions, and hopefully our landlords and mortgage companies will be very patient and allow us to find ways to creatively carry people through, because this is not of their control. Right. You know, they've been sent home by authorities, not by choice. But that goes back to some of your questions from that I know you'd like me to discuss in terms of education. So MHEC is the Maryland Higher Education Commission. Mm-hmm. They're considered an essential piece of state government. And those who can work telecommuting, are hard at work processing all of these loans, all of the scholarships that legislators have. And just as a reminder, your elected officials, both senators and delegates, do have scholarships available. We are monitoring our phones and our emails at our offices. So if anyone is going to go, number one, in-state, that's the first issue. I know a lot of your great students you work with go out of state, but if they're in-state and whether there's a huge financial need or not, everyone should apply. Everyone should be given an opportunity to be reviewed. A lot of my decisions aren't based on true essence of fiscal financial need, but rather, have they worked hard? Have they made progress? Are they in it for the right reasons? And we try to do the best we can of spreading these dollars around. And
I
that's
have to chime in. You know, I have to chime in because my daughter is one of the recipients of your kindness and your scholarship. And she also did exactly what you said and applied. She also got money from Sid Saab, Michael Malone, and Heather Bagnall. So I am going to encourage everyone out there that those scholarships are there. There's nothing that a high school kid can do in that 2 hours of writing that essay that can make the kind of money that those scholarships can sometimes bring to you.
that's
And
right.
I want to thank you for that. And I know that a lot of your accolades towards her were that she stepped up, she called you, she came and met with you, and it wasn't the parent doing the request, it was the student. So
Or
thank you,
as I like to say, the young adult
the young adult.
doing adult things and interacting with other adults in a very appropriate manner. And if you don't know who your legislators are, you can go on the Maryland General Assembly website, and there's a search engine to help you identify who they are. So whether you're applying for through MHEC for a loan, whether you're applying to your legislators for scholarships, we are there. Deadlines will be extended. So we have probably until around June 1st or June 15th to, kind of finalize all your applications on our side of it. And then I think we're all done with our SATs. I'm sure they're not going to put 500 kids in a high school auditorium or gymnasium for SATs.
No, the word on the street, Senator, is that they're hoping to be able to have the June. All the others have been canceled. And they want to have the June test. And if they can't do it in person because we're not out of this situation, they are trying to look at some e-proctoring opportunities where we'd be almost a situation like this where there was a proctor and then a number of kids on video and taking more of a free response type of way to take that test. But the jury's still out on how that's going to come around. Yes, March, April, and May have been canceled.
So that goes back to, how is this thing affecting our community?
Mhm.
Maryland has always been lagging behind when the country goes into recessions because we have such large state and federal employee base.
Okay.
But likewise, it takes us a little longer to pull out of a recession because of that. The folks at risk are those who work for small businesses, obviously. A small business owner who's been struggling for a couple of years, and it's been a couple of good years, this could crush them. We could lose a percentage of our small business owners, especially our restaurants, unless the landlords and the suppliers are going to give these folks some understanding and love. We could see mainly the national chain survive and some of the more local mom and pop owned restaurants and stores really suffering. So in the meantime, we're ordering out once a week. We go down to our local restaurant and we get it at the curb. We do lots of walks and get out. There's a website called All Trails. You put in your zip code and it lists all of the parks in, like a 15, 20-mile radius. It's an app. And then my wife and I discovered a Waterworks Trail over by the Annapolis Reservoir. 9 miles of very nice hiking trails, very close to home, very convenient to a lot of folks. So Waterworks Trails is good. And we're going to go out to Downs Park one day. We're going to go do Quiet Waters. So it's a chance to get back out and enjoy the weather. Even today, it stopped raining, so we'll be walking this afternoon. The other interesting thing is I think we will do fine. We just have to be aware. So my wife gave blood this morning through the Anne Arundel Medical Center mobile blood mobile down at Woodland Beach. I go into the blood bank every 8 weeks to give blood. And we're starting to organize a blood drive through the local chambers of commerce. The chambers of commerce, Severna Park, Crofton, West County, Annapolis, they've been doing a very good job of getting together for joint networking groups. Well, this
Yes.
is a great opportunity for a networking blood drive, and they're still working on that. And I've been kind of encouraging them and putting them in touch with the right people. Uh, as a matter of fact, when my wife went, 8 people walked up to give blood, but they had a full appointment schedule and they couldn't use them. So
Wow.
they're going to have to reschedule. My favorite is the hospital because our blood donations go right to them. The Red Cross is located up in Glen Burnie at Empire Towers. They're always taking donors, and then they make it available to the different hospitals. And then we're always looking out for our neighbors, those who may have the disease or maybe are just elderly and don't want to go out. We give them a ring. We make sure they're doing okay. And I think that's a responsibility of all of us as, people who live in a community. And this community means that there's a common responsibility.
Agreed.
And I think we need to take that very seriously. I'm optimistic we'll pull through this. As I keep saying to people, I think the trigger that will signal normal times is when the kids go back to school.
Right.
So April
I agree.
23rd, I think is the date. So for at least another, 3.5 weeks, business as usual. Things are going to get a lot tougher for those without income. So we have to become even more sensitive to their needs and help them whenever we can.
I agree. And thank you for those apps that people can go on and the direction as far as the Red Cross. There's also a wonderful app that's called Nextdoor, where you can join different neighborhoods and see what's going on, or just kind of focus on your neighborhood. And we're using that here in Cypress Creek. People are reaching out when they need help. People are offering their services. I have a neighbor who's an excellent seamstress, and she's producing tons of masks because she's got the free time, and everybody donated fabric that they had. So that's a great way to connect with neighbors. If you're in a neighborhood and you're not sure how to get connected, you can look up Nextdoor and put in your address.
And this is a great opportunity, again, for our young adults. They're
Yes.
struggling to fill their time. We don't want to get them to have large gatherings, but they still can be engaged in the community by things like this.
I wholeheartedly agree. Like I said in the beginning, it's all how you recover and what you do with the hand that you're dealt. And this is a tremendous time for our teens to be able to look out right in their own backyard, their own environment, and figure out, is there a need that they could fix? Is there a problem that they could solve? Is there trash that they could clean up? Is there a need that they could fill? And get on and do that. It's going to give them their service hours. It's going to make their resume for college much more robust. And you never can replace that good feeling in your heart you get for just doing the right thing and helping other people.
And this program we're using, Zoom, is a very, it's free for most of us.
Yep.
And it's a very good way to connect with people. So I would encourage the young folks to find other young families in their neighborhoods with elementary school kids, and you can tutor them or do
Yes.
story time over the internet. I just think there's an awful lot of opportunity.
I think that's great. I can't thank you enough for your time and coming to us from your beautiful kitchen. And I'm really glad that Kathy showed you how to get your social media up and rolling, and that's really amazing. So thank you, Senator Reilly. Thank you for your time. If we have any questions that are put into the chat box, I'll send you an email, and maybe we can do a follow-up and answer those.
That'll be great. Thank you.
All right. Have a great day. Thank you.
All right.
Very nice. I love her